Like and subscribe to Desi Engine. Click the bell button to receive the latest video.
Hello friends, today we are going to learn about subject-verb agreement. In English grammar, the verb changes its form according to the subject. There are certain rules that you should remember while changing the verb according to the subject. The foremost among them is that singular subjects go with singular verbs. The next one is plural subjects go with plural verbs. That is, plural verbs always take up plural subjects. In the present tense, the rule of agreement states that the verb must have an added s, the verb must end with s if the subject or noun is third person singular. The next rule says that in the present tense, the verb does not have an s. It does not have an s if the noun is plural. The last rule is that in the past tense, the verb does not change with the number of the subject or pronoun. Whether the subject or noun is singular or plural, the verb in the past tense does not change its form. We learned the different rules of subject-verb agreement. Now let's take a look at the examples of these rules. The foremost among them is singular subject, singular verb rule. That is, when the subject is singular, the verb that it takes up is also singular. For example, my uncle has bushy eyebrows. Here, our subject is my uncle, which is clearly singular. Therefore, the verb is also has to be singular. And the verb over here is has. The next rule. Plural subject always takes up plural verbs. For example, the children have very loving parents. Here, our subject is the children, which is in the plural form. Therefore, the verb that it should take up should also be in the plural form. And that's why our verb is have. Let's come to the third rule. In present tense, the verb should end in s if the subject or noun is third person singular. For example, he eats breakfast. Here the subject is in third person singular. Therefore, the verb ends in s. That's why it is eats breakfast. Another example, she plays football. Here the subject is she and it is in the third person singular form. Therefore, the verb ends in s. Plays football. Next rule. In the present tense, the verb should not end in s if the subject or noun is in the third person plural form. For example, they eat breakfast. Here, our subject is in third person plural form. Therefore, the verb does not end with an s and our verb is eat. Let's do the next rule, the final rule. In the past tense, there is no change in the verb whether the subject or the noun is in the singular form or plural form. For example, he walked. Here the subject is in the third person singular form and the verb is walked. They walked. Here the subject is in third person plural form. Yet the verb is again walked. It has not changed its form according to the subject because here the sentence is in past tense. There are certain other rules to be followed in our topic of subject-verb agreement. Let's go through that. The verb agrees with the subject and not with the noun next to it. I have given you few sentences as example to clear this rule. Let's go through it. The man with 2 briefcases is heading for the airport. Here our noun phrase is man with two briefcases. There is a tendency to put a plural verb after the word briefcases because it is the noun is plural, but that would be wrong because the rule is that the verb agrees with the subject and not the noun next to it. Our subject in this noun phrase is man, which is singular. Therefore, the verb should also be singular. And that's why is correct, whereas the sentence, the man with two briefcases are heading for the airport is wrong. This is the correct sentence. Let's do another example. Her bouquet of flowers is a birthday present. Since the flowers is plural, there is a tendency to add a plural verb. But take a look. Bouquet of flowers is a noun phrase. The subject is bouquet and the noun is flowers. The subject bouquet is singular. Therefore, what the rule says is the verb agrees with the subject. Therefore, our verb should also be singular. Therefore, is. And that's why this statement is correct. Her bouquet of flowers is a birthday present. Whereas this statement, her bouquet of flowers are a birthday present, is wrong. In a topic of subject-verb agreement, there are certain rules to be followed when the subject is in the compound form. That is, the first rule is, if the subject has two or more nouns, it takes a plural verb. For example, Dick, Tom and Harry are triplets. Here, the subject Dick, Tom and Harry has three nouns joined by the conjunction and. Therefore, the verb that it takes up is plural. Next rule is, when two or more nouns are joined by and to form a subject, the verb is in the plural form. For example, the grandfather, the father and the son have beard. Here, three nouns, the grandfather, father, the son are joined by and that's why the verb that it takes up is in the plural form, have. The next rule is, if the nouns that make up a compound subject are joined by or and both are singular, a singular verb is used. For example, his father or mother is a professor of insects. Here, father and mother are in the singular form and they are joined by the conjunction or. Therefore, the verb that it takes up according to the rule of subject-verb agreement is that the verb that it takes up is in the singular form. That's why is. The next rule is, if the nouns that make up a compound subject are singular and plural, the verb agrees with the noun just next to it. For example, in the sentence, his killers or killer is still at large. Here, the nouns are killers and killer. So, according to the rule that we just read, it should follow that the verb should be in the singular form because the noun killer is nearer to it. And killer is in the singular form, therefore the verb should also be in the singular form. If this sentence had been like, his killer or killers, then the verb that would have been used is are. So the sentence would have become, his killer or killers are still at large. There are few other rules worth remembering in a subject-verb agreement topic. Let's get started. In a sentence where the subject comes after the verb, the rules of subject-verb agreement are followed. For example, there were three big men seated at the next table staring at me. Here the subject is men and the verb is were. The subject is in the plural form and therefore the verb should also be in the plural form. Therefore, were is used instead of was. Next rule is, when two nouns refer to the same person or thing, the verb is in the singular form. For example, in the sentence, my uncle and handyman is very useful. Here, uncle and handyman refer to the same person. Therefore, the verb that is used is in the singular form. Is. Next rule is, when two nouns refer to the same person, the article the is used only once and the verb is in the singular form. Therefore, the nurse and sister of the patient was very caring. Here, the nurse and sister refer to the same patient. Therefore, the verb which is used is in the singular form, was. One thing to be remembered is the article the is used only once with the nurse, because here the subject nurse and sister refer to the same person, that is the patient. Next rule is, when two different persons are referred, the article the is repeated and the verb is in the plural form. That is, the owner and the occupant of the house are good. Here we are talking about two different persons. Therefore, the article the is repeated here. The owner and the occupant. And the verb that is used is in the plural form. That's why we are using are instead of is. Let's go through certain other rules of subject-verb agreement. Phrases which begin with as well as together with, etc. are not the same as and therefore the verb used is in the singular form instead of being in the plural form. For example, the woman with her daughter is selling flowers. Since the word with is used here, the verb used is in the singular form, is. Next rule is, each and every joined by and take a singular verb. For example, each and every patient has to undergo a medical examination. According to the rule that we read just now, each and every patient. Since each and every is used, the verb has to be in the singular form. Therefore, the usage of the verb has. The next rule is, when two nouns are treated as one entity, the verb is in the singular form. Therefore, in the example, bread and butter was his daily breakfast. Bread and butter is treated as one entity. It is together. Therefore, the verb used is was, and that is in the singular form. Let's go through the last set of rules regarding subject-verb agreement. When a quantity or amount is treated as a whole, the verb used is singular. For example, the $100 you lent me was not enough. Here, the amount $100 is treated as a whole. Therefore, the verb used is singular. The next rule is, there are indefinite pronouns, for example, anyone, nobody, somebody, which are always singular. Therefore, they take up singular verbs. And then there are indefinite pronouns, both, others, several, which are always plural. Therefore, they take up plural verbs. Then there is another case of indefinite pronouns which act either singular or plural. Therefore, they take up either singular verb or plural verb. For example, all he needs is a $1,000 loan. Here, all is treated as a single entity. Therefore, the verb used is in the singular form. Next sentence, all were arrested for fighting. Here, all is used in the sense of everyone involved in the fighting. Therefore, the verb used is in the plural form, were. The last rule is, the verb in an either or, neither nor sentence agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. For example, neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on that shelf. The noun closest to the verb is serving bowl, which is singular. Therefore, the verb taken up is in the singular form. If the sentence is changed in this way, neither the serving bowl nor the plates go on that shelf. In that case, plates is the nearest noun. Therefore, the verb takes up plural form. Go. It changes to go from goes. Therefore, we have discussed all the rules of subject-verb agreement. Meet you again in the next class.